The 11th Congress of the International Network of Productive Schools, INEPS, took place in the Wannsee Forum in Berlin, the second week of May of 1999. About 100 people coming from 11 countries participated in this Congress. Experts in pedagogy, economy and politics had the chance of discussing educational problems and the possibilities to put in common the worlds of education and economy in a near future, when school and activity will be very related. A market presentation of INEPS projects allow participants to know the highlights and activities of each productive school. The presentation allows participants to share ideas and plan some new projects and cooperation. The sessions started with the welcome reception at the Wannsee Forum by Ingrid Bohm, representative of the Institute for Productive Learning in Europe from Berlin, the institution in charge of organizing this 1999 INEPS Congress. Naturally, the Congress participants from abroad were willing to visit Berlin, a city which belongs to all us because it's part of our common history. In those spring days, the Green Berlin offered all its splendid appearance to the visitors. Berlin, more than a homogeneous city, is a city of contrasts. Berlin's history began here, beside the Spree River, around the Museum's Island. But Mitte, the historical center, is only one of the many phases of Berlin. People were absolutely convinced of being in a historical city, which is at the same time the newest European capital. The participants of the Congress could also visit some productive learning projects in Berlin, to know closely the work done there. Experts in economy, politics and education coming from different countries took part in the plenary session in the Jean Monnet House. The plenary was opened by Ingrid Baum and Jens Snyder, the directors of IPLE, who introduced the panel participants. Plenary lecturers began a lively discussion on the educational reform and the participation of citizens, especially those from business life. The discussion followed 6 theses. The first one sustains that education needs the participation of learners, and they should become involved in choosing the contents of their education. The second one states another educational need: the involvement of citizens from all fields of life in our society, especially from business life and firms. According to the third thesis, education needs also a new definition, away from the accumulation of knowledge and towards the development of personality. The main task of education is to learn to use knowledge and culture as tools to shape one's life. Another thesis declares that school needs a careful reorganization out of its social isolation and into the reality of life, becoming a place of encounter, reflection and consolidation of learning experiences. Next, participants discuss a thesis affirming that the role of teachers should change, away from the pure teaching of knowledge and towards educational counseling based on partnership. Teachers need competencies to initiate, advise and evaluate individual educational processes. Finally, the discussion went to the sixth thesis, which, answering the other 5, asserts that productive learning gives a successful solution to the mentioned reform needs. To handle some of the main educational topics, people work in various seminars. Most of them were directly related with the actual situation and the future needs of young people. In the seminar dealing with young people's living and working visions, moderators and participants tried to find out what are the dreams, fears and expectations of young people. Another seminar intended to determine the young people's work future and how will young people earn their living in the future. The citizens' and communities' responsibility for young people's social integration was the subject of another seminar. Productive learning as a future-oriented educational program was the center of a seminar that took into account the future needs to develop as well as the work already realized in the frame of INEPS, such as youth exchanges, pedagogues exchanges and youth congresses. Seminars were preceded by one or various key speeches done by experts, in order to give ideas and elements to discuss later on. For instance, specialists talk about the school enterprises and youth enterprises' usefulness for productive learning, the relevance of work for the individual identity of young people, the future of work, and the productive learning resources. Besides seminars and key speeches, there were different workshops, some of them organized to carry out INEPS activities and projects, such as the youth congresses of INEPS, one of the most important events in the network that allows young people to meet once a year to exchange ideas and expectations. In the International Bridges workshop, colleagues from New York presented a proposal of international exchange program. In another workshop was presented My Practice, a document that is a special tool for evaluation and whose usefulness has been experimented in practice. Other workshops try to give solutions to questions such as: how do economists perceive educators? And how do educators perceive economists? Or how to define productive learning resources to be educationally meaningful? Two more workshops were especially focused on how to create school firms and youth enterprises in the frame of productive learning. Other sessions were committed to discuss how to use productive learning for younger students and to describe experiences in the field of career guidance in the transition phase between a school and apprenticeship. Finally, there was also a communication workshop, whose main aims were to take pictures for this video you are watching right now and to learn how to produce web pages. Congress began with a warm opening dinner held in this nice restaurant, which was a former brewery. The friendship and animation of these first moments was a good sign of the Congress development. In this building, there is the site of IPLE, the Institute for Productive Learning in Europe, which was the origin of the INEPS network. The participants of the Congress were invited to visit the IPLE offices. Since 1989, IPLE has developed and spread the productive learning methods as well as pushed many learning experiences and cooperation projects. The IPLE team was also in charge of the organization of this year's INEPS Congress, together with many teachers from productive learning schools of Berlin. In IPLE, there was another friendly reception with a buffet organized by students of productive learning schools. A barbecue at Banse Forum was another occasion for sharing good moments with friends. It was also a prelude of a nice cultural evening with pieces of Fauré, Debussy and Kreisler, played very finely. As everything has its end, the farewell dinner in the Prater restaurant led to the closure of the Berlin INEPS Congress. The friendly hospitality of the Berlin pedagogues was the dominant note all along the Congress. Last moments to talk and to make promises of getting in touch, enjoying the meals, tasting the drinks, always having a good time, and toasting for the future of the association, for everybody's happiness.
So, cheer everybody. I forgot something.
The bright sun made the work of the Administration Council of INEPS more pleasant. Several meetings all along the week were required to organize activities and prepare the contents of the General Assembly. Jacques Bonisseau, president of INEPS, introduced the Administration Council members to the General Assembly. That was the moment for putting in common the work done during the congresses. The leaders of the seminars and workshops summarized the conclusions and presented the results. Besides the conclusion of the Congress, the INEPS plenary dealt with other important subjects, such as the financial situation, new proposals, the acceptation of new members, and the planning for the future. Two of the main activities approved by the Assembly were the next Congress in Stockholm and the Youth Congress in Finland. After a week of intense work, the Congress was over with a very successful organization. Education and economy, or school and work, seem to have a precious future together if they develop their common links. Next year, INEPS people will exchange more experiences and discuss other useful topics, leading to a new improvement of pedagogical techniques, always with the aim of making a better world, a better life, a rosy life.
Ça me fait quelque chose qu'il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, il a juré pour la vie. Dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi